Hello guys, welcome back to Chanda DIY, and today's video I'll be showing you how to crochet a ribbed chunky cardigan. It is really simple and easy, friendly for beginners. And for this cardigan I make for size small and size medium. And for you guys that want to make the cardigan more bigger and longer, in this video I also showing you how to take your own measurement. Okay, now let's get into the video. First thing first, we are going to make the front part of the cardigan, and here is what the front part of my cardigan looks like. For this pattern, we are working on the length way, so for the number of the foundation chain is the height of the cardigan. And we are start working on the shoulder part first. And next, we are start working on the V neckline. To begin, make a slip knot. And I'm using 4.5mm crochet hook to make the foundation chains. It is for the ribbing part at the bottom of the cardigan, because I want the stitches at the bottom part of the cardigan more smaller than the upper part. And next, make 8 chains. It is for the ribbing part at the bottom of the cardigan. After you have made 8 chains, and then I'm going to switch the hook to 6.5mm crochet hook. And then continue add 52 more chains. In total, you must have 60 chains. It is equal 17 inches length. It's the height of my cardigan. If you guys want your cardigan more longer, you can add more chains. And now after you got your desired length, next, we are going to make the ribbing stitch. For row 1, skip 1 chain, and we are going to make half double crochet slip stitch into the next chain. To make half double crochet slip stitch, yarn over, insert the hook into the loop, yarn over and pull up a loop. And now you have 3 loops on your hook. And now you have to hold and pull this middle yarn. Then pull the third yarn through both loops. And then don't forget to use stitch marker to mark at this first stitch. It is easy to know where the first stitch is, and you also won't miss the stitch. Next, we are going to make half double crochet slip stitch into each chain until you have 8 last chains. Then I will meet you back again. As you can see, if you don't hold the middle yarn, it's difficult to pull the yarn through. After you have 8 last chains, next we are going to make the bottom ribbing stitch. So I'm going to switch the hook into 4.5mm crochet hook. And then we are going to make slip stitch. To make slip stitch, continue insert the hook into the loop. Yarn over and pull through all both loops. Use stitch marker to mark at this first slip stitch. It is easy to know where to start make the bottom ribbing stitch. Next, continue make slip stitch into each chain until the end of the row. Then I will meet you back again. Remember, for making the slip stitch, you have to make it a little bit loose, so it is easy to insert the hook into the loop for the next row. After you reach the end of the row, and this is what it looks like. Next, for row 2, chain 1. Remember, chain 1 don't count as a stitch. Turn your work, and then we are going to make slip stitch but into the back loop of the stitch only. So flip your row like this, and you can see the V shape here. And we are going to insert the hook into the back loop only. Don't forget to use stitch marker to mark at this first slip stitch back loop only. Like I said, it is easy to know where your last stitch or your first stitch is, and you also won't miss this last stitch. Keep making slip stitch back loop only into each stitch until you reach the stitch marker. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the stitch marker, and this is what it looks like. Next, I'm going to switch the hook into 6.5mm crochet hook, and we are going to make half double crochet slip stitch but into the back loop only. Just flip your row like this, and you can see the V shape up here. Then we are going to make half double crochet slip stitch into the back loop of the V stitch only. Keep making half double crochet slip stitch back loop only into every stitch until you reach the end of the row. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the end of the row, and this is what the second row looks like. As you can see, it is curved and wavy because I made the foundation a little bit tight and then make the ribbing stitch a little bit loose, so it will become wave or curve. But it's okay, you just stretch it to give a nice and straight row. Next, for row 3, chain 1, turn your work. Then we are going to make half double crochet slip stitch back loop only into every stitch until you reach the stitch marker. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the stitch marker, then we are going to switch the hook into 4.5mm hook. And then remove the stitch marker, and we are going to make slip stitch back loop only into every stitch until the end of the row. And this is what the third row looks like. For the next row, please keep repeating row 2 and row 3 until you reach row 25. It is equal 7.5 inches width. Then I will meet you back again. So this is in case that you don't know how to connect the yarn. When you run out of the yarn like this, you just yarn over and insert the hook into the loop, and then leave this short tail of yarn and grab the new yarn, yarn over and pull through a loop, and now we have 3 loops on the hook. Then pull the third yarn through both loops. And this is how I connect the yarn. And don't forget to pull the 2 strands of yarn and hold it to secure. And then we are going to continue make half double crochet slip stitch back loop only. And don't forget to bring these 2 strands of yarn along with the row. Just place it on the hook like this. Yarn over and pull up a loop, and then pull the third loop into both loops. And this is what it looks like when you're carrying these 2 strands of yarn along with the row. So for this side, you just keep it for the wrong side of your cardigan. And this is what it looks like after you reach row 25. In case that you don't know how to count the number of the row, so I'm gonna show you how to count it. As you can see, this stitch is lower than the V stitch. So this lower stitch, it is the wrong side of the V stitch. So we're going to count it as a row, the V stitch as the second row, and keep counting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Keep counting like this and you will know how many rows of the ribbing stitch are. So I have 25 rows. It is equal 7.5 inches width. It's the measurement of the top of my shoulder. And this is what it looks like when I place on my shoulder. As you can see, it's bigger than my shoulder measurement. But it's okay because I want my cardigan oversized. And for you guys that want to make your cardigan more bigger, please add more rows by repeat row 2 and row 3 until it's bigger than your shoulder measurement. And next, we are going to make the V neckline. To begin, count 17 stitches. And use stitch marker to mark at the 18th stitch. For 17 stitches that we count, it is equal 5 inches. And we are going to skip these 17 stitches. Next, continue from where your last stitch is. For row 26, chain 1, turn your work, and make slip stitch back loop only into the next 8 stitches. And then make half double crochet slip stitch back loop only into each stitch until you have 2 last stitches from the stitch marker. After you had 2 last stitches, then we are going to make decreasing stitch. Remove the stitch marker. Then insert the hook into the loop, yarn over and pull up a loop. And now you have 2 loops on your hook. Then continue insert the hook into the next loop, yarn over and pull up a loop. And now you have 3 loops on your hook. Then hold the middle yarn and pull the third yarn through both loops. And this is how we make decreasing stitch. Next, for row 27, chain 1, turn your work, skip 1 stitch, and we are going to make decrease into the next stitch by repeat the same thing like we did at the previous row. After you have made decrease, then don't forget to use stitch marker to mark at this decreasing stitch. Next, continue make half double crochet slip stitch back loop only into every stitch until you reach the stitch marker, which is where we start make the bottom ribbing. Then make slip stitch back loop only into the next 8 stitches. After you reach the end of the row, next for row 28, chain 1, turn your work and make slip stitch back loop only into the next 8 stitches. Then continue make half double crochet slip stitch back loop only into every stitch until you have 3 last stitches from the stitch marker. After you have 3 last stitches from the stitch marker, next we are going to make decrease. After you have made decrease, for the last stitch, we are going to skip it. For the next row, please keep repeating row 27 and row 28 until you reach row 35. Then I will meet you back again. And this is what it looks like after you reach row 35. For you guys that make bigger size, you can keep decreasing until it reaches the chest part. Next, don't forget to repeat the same thing to the other side. And now the both front part is done. Next, we are going to make the back part of the cardigan. For the back part of the cardigan, it is the same thing like the front part. We make 60 chains the same. It is equal 17 inches high. And then make the ribbing stitch like the front part by repeat row 1, 2, and 3 until you got 70 rows. It is equal 20 inches length. And this is how I got my back measurement. You just plus the number of the row of both front part together. So for each side I have 35 rows. 35 plus 35 it is equal 70 rows. It's the total row of the back part of my cardigan. And next we are going to make the sleeves. For both sleeves we are going to repeat the same thing like the back part, but I make it more longer. I make 66 chains. It is equal 18.5 inches high. If you guys want your sleeve more longer, you can add more chains and then make the ribbing stitch until you got 49 rows. It is equal 16 inches. It's my arm circumference. If you guys want it more bigger, please add more rows. And next, we are going to connect the back part and the front part of the cardigan together. Place both front part on top of the back part like this. And then we are going to connect the shoulder part together. For the back part, you just count 25 rows, the same number like the front shoulder part. And use stitch marker to mark at the 25th row. And don't forget to count the same number to the other side. To begin, attach the yarn into both sides loop. I'm going to insert the hook into this V-shaped loop. And then continue insert the hook into the loop that we use stitch marker to mark. and then yarn over, pull through both loops. Don't forget to leave some short tail of yarn. And next, chain 1. Then we are going to make single crochet both sides together. To make single crochet both sides together, insert the hook into this loop. And then continue insert the hook into the other side loop. Yarn over and pull through both sides loop, and now you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 2 loops. Keep making single crochet both sides together into every stitch until the end of the row. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the end of the row, then chain 1 and cut off the yarn. And this is what it looks like. Next, please repeat the same thing to the other side. And now we are done connecting both shoulder parts together. And next, we are going to connect the sleeves into the cardigan. To begin, fold the sleeves into 2 pieces and use stitch marker to mark at the middle part of it. And then place the stitch marker into the middle part of the cardigan, which is where we connect the top of the shoulder together. And turn your work like this. Then attach the yarn and make single crochet both sides together into every stitch until the end of the row. And this is what it looks like after we attach the sleeves into the cardigan. Next, fold your cardigan like this. And we are going to attach this side of the cardigan until you reach the end of the sleeves. Then I will meet you back again. And this is what it looks like after you reach the end of the sleeves. And for the remaining yarn, you can use the hook to weave in all the end. And for the other sleeves, you have to repeat the same thing like the first sleeves. Next, turn your cardigan right side out. And this is what it looks like on the right side. Next, we are going to make single crochet into the front part and around the neckline as the border. To begin, attach the yarn into the corner stitch. And then chain 1. And next, make single crochet into every stitch until you reach the corner part, which is where the V neckline. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the corner stitch, then we are going to make increase by make 2 single crochet in the same loop. After you got 2 stitches in the same loop, then continue make single crochet into every stitch around the neckline until you reach the other corner. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the other side corner, then we are going to make increase by make 2 single crochet in the same loop. After you got 2 stitches in the same loop, then continue make single crochet into every stitch until you reach the end of the row, and I will meet you back again. And this is what it looks like after you reach the end of the row. Then chain 1 and cut off the yarn. And next, we are going to make the ribbing stitch into the front part and around the neckline. To begin, attach the yarn into the first stitch. For making this front ribbing stitch, I'm using 4.5mm crochet hook. And next, we are going to chain 7. After you got 7 chains, next we are going to make single crochet. For row 1, skip 1 chain and make single crochet into every chain until the end of the row. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the end of the row, then we are going to make slip stitch into the single crochet stitch. After you have made a slip stitch, then make another slip stitch into the next stitch. And after you have made 2 slip stitch, next for row 2, turn your work. Skip 2 stitches that we make slip stitch. Then we are going to make single crochet back loop only into the 3rd stitch. Keep making single crochet back loop only into every stitch until you reach the end of the row. Then I will meet you back again. Next, for row 3, chain 1, turn your work, and make single crochet back loop only into every stitch until the end of the row. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the end of the row, and next we are going to make slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. After you have made 2 slip stitch, for the next row, please keep repeating row 2 and row 3 until you reach the corner part. Then I will meet you back again. And this is what it looks like after you reach the corner. And next, we are going to make increasing row. For increase row 1, after you have made a slip stitch, so you don't have to make another slip stitch, just turn your work. And then skip one stitch that you make a slip stitch and start working single crochet back loop only into every stitch until the end of the row. Next, for increase row 2, chain 1, turn your work, and make single crochet back loop only into every stitch until the end of the row. After you reach the end of the row, then make slip stitch into the same loop with the previous row. After you have made a slip stitch, and this is what it looks like, turn your work and repeat the increase row 1 by skip one stitch and make single crochet back loop only into every stitch until the end of the row. And for the next row, please keep repeating row 2 and row 3, no increasing row. Just make normal row of the ribbing stitch around the neckline until you reach the other side corner. Then I will meet you back again. As you can see, this corner part for the ribbing row is look curved. It's because we made increasing row. And this is what it looks like after you reach the other side corner. And next, we are going to make increasing row again. After you have made a slip stitch, then turn your work, and we are going to repeat increase row 1 and increase row 2 like we did at the other side corner. So after you reach the end of the row, then make slip stitch into the same loop with the previous row. And next, we are going to make the buttonholes. As you can see in this picture, I made 3 buttonholes. You guys can add more buttonholes depending on how long your cardigan is. Next, after you have made a slip stitch, then turn your work, skip one stitch, and make single crochet back loop only into the next 2 stitches. After you got 2 single crochets, then chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and make single crochet into the next 2 stitches. After you reach the end of the row, and this is what the buttonhole looks like. For the next row, chain 1, turn your work, and make single crochet back loop only into each stitch and each chain until you reach the end of the row. Then I will meet you back again. After you reach the end of the row, then make slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. After you have made 2 slip stitch for the next row, please keep repeating row 2 and row 3 until you got 9 rows. And this is what it looks like after you have made ribbing stitch for 9 rows. And next, we are going to make the buttonhole again. After you have made 2 slip stitch, then turn your work and skip 2 stitches. Then make single crochet back loop only into the next 2 stitches. Then chain 2, skip 2 stitches and make single crochet back loop only into the next 2 stitches. For the next row, please keep making the rib stitch by repeat row 2 and 3 until you got 9 rows, and then make the buttonhole again. After you have made the third buttonhole, then keep making the rib stitch until you reach the end of the row, and we meet you back again. After you reach the end of the row, then chain 1 and cut off the yarn. And this is what the buttonhole of my cardigan looks like. And next, we are going to sewing the buttons into the cardigan. And now your ribbed chunky cardigan is done. If you like this tutorial, please don't forget to click like and leave a positive comment down below. Stay safe and stay healthy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.